Hi, friends. So, I did for my project a children's book about the extinction crisis. It's called The Ones You Never Knew. And what I did was I went on the IUNC Red List and I found 20 different species who are critically endangered or extinct, whose populations are either declining or are gone. And I wrote them into a little poem in a children's book. And along with that, I did little watercolor illustrations of each species that I talk about. And then if you look next to each illustration, I included the name of the species, the binomial nomenclature, and then a little fact or statistic about them. So like when they were last seen, how many individuals are left, maybe a reason for their extinction, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just going to read this like it's story time, I guess, because that's how I'm gonna present it. Um, so it's called The Ones You Never Knew. If you were to travel the whole wide world and see every creature that lives, you'd be astonished by the beauty of each and the special gifts each has to give. From the tops of the mountains to the depths of the seas to the deep swaths of forest all shadowed by trees, there are creatures there that would defy your belief, and yet these are the ones that you may never see. For as you are growing, yearning after what's new, watching the world changing all around you, seeing cities and smog replace breathtaking views, the most lovely of creatures will be those you never knew. If you roamed to Africa to see the great beasts, you'd be surprised by strange creatures you knew not in the least, for some populations have so severely decreased that you'd be lucky to see only one at the least. In the west, in the jungle, you're not likely to find the red colobus which once swung by on vines, for this is a species that's been so maligned that of all the small primates, it's most likely to die. Not only that, but if you travel far south and you peer down inside of a yawning cave mouth, you may not find a cave squeaker frog looking back, for this ancient creature's near future looks black. A Togo red jeweled damselfly may grace your presence, or a Madeiran large white may float by on the breeze, but it won't be for long, as these two are most threatened, and their final performance may not have a reprise. When you travel to Asia and look round for wonders, you may note how quickly they seem to decrease, for you won't see a Javan rhinoceros lumber, and as its very existence may very soon cease. You won't watch a Javan lapwing take flight, or the Adam's shadow damsel speed by on bright wings, for both of these creatures, though try as they might, may be lost with destruction that we humans bring. In India, you won't glimpse a Malabar civet as they slink through the bushes searching for their lost home. These creatures might survive at the cusp of existence, but if so, they have little room still left to roam. In China, you won't see the Baiji out playing or swimming the Yangtze as they did years ago, for even after some careful surveying, it would seem that they've put on their very last show. Deep in the down under where you may one day go, there are creatures who would call the tablelands home, if it weren't for construction disrupting their flow and the poisons that deal such slow, fatal blows. In a matter of years, there is much we could lose, such as the yellow-spotted tree frog and the peppered one, too, and it's simply a matter of learning to choose between their tiny lives and our need to consume. In South America, there is much to be seen, but not much that is promised to last. For in all of their forests and islands and streams, there are creatures whose time may have passed. From the bright golden toad on the cloud forest floor to the blue spix macaw in Brazil, from the turquoise-slittered pufflegs that once graced Ecuador to the missing Jamaican porwell. On Galapagos Island, so well known and unique, live the great pinta tortoise whose story's been bleak. With their high-domed shells and their short, pointed beaks, they were once quite a sight, but they're quite past their peak. It's not just on land where we pass up our chances to see fauna flourish in nature's circumstances, for the oceans are teeming with creatures of all kinds, and many of which we may soon be unable to find. Hawksbill sea turtles travel under the waves with their bright patterned shells and their fanciful grace. If we do not stop the threats that they face, then we may soon send these animals to their graves. There are many a critter with an uncertain fate, like the charming vaquita or the cute common skate. They are threatened by fish nets and hooks holding bait, and we may never see them again at this rate. As our factories belch carbon into the sky and our rainforests grow far too hot to hold life, as our climate is slowly beginning to dry, more than a quarter of creatures face some sort of strife. Amphibians wither and start to get sick. Marine creatures suffer in muck and in mud. Land mammals are losing their habitats quick, and many fear hunters who are out for their blood. If the last island tortoise takes his last lonesome breath, or the last wild creatures die out without fanfare, if the final wee frog succumbs to its death, is there anyone out there who's going to care? The answer is yes, so no need to despair, no need to get angry or pull out your hair. The person who cares for these creatures is you, and there are so many things still left to do. When you grow up, there are things you should know. Don't buy exotic pets or animal skin clothes. Protect native wetlands and forests and trees by boycotting uncaring big companies. Remember each species and where they reside. Support conservation and wildlife reserves. Clean up the trash that floats in with the tide. Give your Mother Nature the respect she deserves. You can go plant a tree, you can stop eating meat, you can ride on your bike or just walk on your feet. You can petition in the name of the cause, or you can grow up a leader and change all the laws. For the species we lose will soon be sorely missed, and if you choose to ask, then the future will thank you. But if you grow up and refuse to assist, you'll yearn after the creatures that you never knew. So that's my kid's book. I hope you thought it was cute.